You're Andrew Lloyd Webber, looking around for a leading man for the follow-up to your incredibly successful musical, Phantom of the Opera.
How likely is it you would choose someone who'd had very little formal training and who'd learnt to act by reading books about acting?
Well, that's what happened to our next guest, Ramin Karimloo, who was cast as the Phantom in Lord Lloyd Webber's sequel, Love Never Dies, which opened in March this year. Ramin is joining us this morning to tell us how it all happened. First, let's have a look at some of the show.
Years come and years go, time runs dry. Still I ache down to the core. My broken soul can't be alive and whole till I hear you sing once more. And music, your music, it teases at my ear. I turn and it fades away, and you're not here. Let hope pass, let dreams pass, let them die. Without you, what are they for?
Oh, Ramin Karimloo joins us now. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, we said in the introduction, you've had no formal training, you weren't trained to sing, and you learned to act by reading books about acting.
Well, yeah, you still have to develop your craft. That was the sort of road that sort of was presented to me. It's just, with my career, I found I knew what I wanted to do, but it just sort of, what comes your way, I kind of dealt with it as I went. Luckily, I learned as I went, but there could be a lot of mistakes along the way, but I've been working with great directors who have helped me teach my craft.
Now, as we said in the lead-in, the gig you've got now, presumably is one that lots of singers and actors would have wanted. Why you? I mean, take us through the audition process.
Well, that's the thing, I didn't really audition, so I think Andrew can answer that. I was playing Phantom in the original production, and I was called into the offices, and I can't read music, so Simon Lee, the music supervisor, said, we just want you to sing this new material. And kind of like alarm bells were going in my head thinking, I've heard murmurings of, Andrew working on the sequel. So he taught it, singing it in my ear, and I was learning it. And as I was reading the lyrics, it was evident that it's the Phantom speaking, and it was that song, Till I Hear You Sing. And he goes, oh, Andrew's going to come here in 5 minutes. I said, is this an audition? What's going on? And then from there...
And you came in.
You heard it,
and
I sang it, and I just thought, this is one chance I can finally sing something that I've never heard before. I've been blessed with great roles, but your ear picks up.
How had they heard about you then?
Well, I was playing Phantom at Her Majesty's.
And how did they hear about you before you played Phantom?
I was in Miss Saigon at the time.
Okay.
And Cameron McIntosh helped me, push me for that.
So what was the breakthrough moment for you when you first got into musicals?
Well, was watching Phantom?
No, as in when you were younger and you were looking for the big break, presumably you were a jobbing actor,
yeah.
And you got the big call up to do these really big roles.
Well, that was it. My first job was working at Regent's Park and watching in the wings and learning from actors who own their craft, Shakespearean actors, and so I went from job to job, and actually playing Raoul in the original production of Phantom. That was sort of my main first real leading role break.
One of the things I think you have to take on board, I mean, when you do something like the sequel to Phantom of the Opera, huge spotlight on the show.
Yeah.
And the critics have been pretty harsh. I mean, I know some have liked it, but some harsh words have been said about the show itself. Your performance, I think everyone says, is amazing within the show. But there have been some harsh words said about it, haven't there?
Yeah, but I think a lot of people were looking for the negatives as opposed to hanging on to the positives, because I think we had as many positive reviews. Like, I think there's just as many 5-star reviews. I think there was a couple 2 stars, 3 stars, and 4 stars. Every show's like that. But I think because it's Andrew Lloyd Webber and the sequel to the most successful show ever, people magnified the negatives. And there was a lot of bit of negativity about the sequel existing anyways. But you know what? People coming to see it are seeing a compelling story and a beautiful show and hearing Andrew's some of his best music.
And were you aware of that before? You played Phantom.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there's the sequel, which, as Charlie says, some controversy about, some, lots of interest in.
Yeah.
And you're picked to play the leading role again. Did that kind of hang over you? Was that a responsibility for you? Were you worried about it, or you just treat it like any other role?
Yeah, that's how I approached it. But it's funny. It was after maybe a month into it that sort of started creeping into my head, because I thought, oh, I've bitten off a good chunk here. But you know what? One thing about Phantom, because people want to protect it, it's such a beautiful piece, the original, and but everyone will have their own sort of interpretation of the characters, the show, and each one is probably as valid as the other.
And can we briefly have a look at the mask itself? I don't know if we can see it now, because it's a real. You have to. There's what, prosthetics. How long does it take you to get yourself all kind of done up?
Yeah, this one's a little different than the original. This one is a lot more painful. It takes about an hour. I don't know if we have photos.
Yeah, should we see it?
Yeah, so you got the sort of the mask down on one side of the face, which is that kind of glued on? How's that
No,
work?
that's similar to the original, but the prosthetics now go all over my forehead down to here, and it's made out of silicone, so it's much more realistic and lifelike, more film-like.
More comfortable?
It's more uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's so painful taking off.
Is it?
That's why I'm growing my hair, to cover my spots on my forehead.
Oh, because you have to pull the skin every time?
Yeah, well, I wear a bald cap.
You suffer for your art?
I do for this one. I'm not enjoying the makeup process, but I think it looks fantastic.
Well, thank you for coming in today. Nice to see you here.
Lovely
see
to
you guys.
talk to
Thank
you,
you.
Ramin. Thanks very much. Love Never Dies continues its run at the Adelphi Theatre in London's West End.
Let's have